UCLA week. They just came off a win beating Stanford on the road. As like last year, about this time, they got better. Quarterback's playing very well. They have some explosive players on offense. Defensively now, they seem like they've gotten that thing kind of fixed, and they've got some athletes. That's the one thing you realize when you play these guys. And they got explosive players on offense. They run the ball a little bit better than people imagine, actually. They run the ball for about 160 yards a game. So they're very balanced on offense. Score some points. They scored the one time against Washington State. That was unbelievable how many points both those teams have scored. But they're playing a lot better. They play with a lot of energy. And when you look at their record, they have the same conference record we have, 2-2. So they just feel like they're starting to gain momentum. They got a young team as well. A lot of young players play for those guys. So this will be a good football game for us. Questions?
Might need a mic.
Rubino Devil's Digest. Herm, you were able to bounce back very nicely after the Colorado loss. Does this Utah loss, just the way the whole game went down, feels a little different in terms of the bouncing back?
Well, we haven't played yet. So I'll tell you after the game. No, I think, it's one of those deals. It was a big game for us in the fact that both teams had same conference records, going on the road, playing a very good opponent. But as I said before we played this game, as we continue to build a program, we want to play in games like this because you learn a lot about yourself. And I just think, we learned some lessons. The team understood it. We didn't harp on it very long at all yesterday. They felt it. They were disappointed, but they weren't discouraged. And they understood that, okay, we put ourselves in this position. Now, how do we continue to win more games and put ourselves in position down the road? And that's what you hope for, and that's part of building a program. So as far as the letdown and all that, I don't know if that I don't even want to get into that. I just know one thing, we lost a game, and now we want to try to win one.
Coach Michael Caratino, Sports Hangover. Obviously, you said all week long last week it'd be a physical game. People saw it was physical. To that point on the defense, causing the turnovers, I know you and Coach Gonzalez have talked about that. Not that you're looking for a silver lining saying the team's frustrated, but causing those turnovers, you start seeing the physicality of the game helping your defense cause the turnovers? Well,
and that was kind of the game, the outset. We had the mindset this was going to be a game similar to Michigan State and similar to Cal. Right? That was kind of the plan going in. And lo and behold, when you looked at the game, it was 14-3. Be quite honest, I felt comfortable. We get a score, it's a one-score game going into the fourth quarter. And that's Cal, that's Michigan State. And it's just kind of like we function this way, and it never turned that way. They did a great job of not allowing that to happen. And to their credit, that's the game. They never let us back in it. We had opportunities, we just couldn't find a way. Where at Michigan State and at Cal, we did. And so going up there, this wasn't going to be a high-scoring affair. It was going to be a low-scoring ball game, and the weather predicted it too. And a little bit of the weather played into it, and I said, well, that weather's part of this too now. And if we can just keep it a low-scoring game and survive the crowd and the noise and the atmosphere and all that, and we did. It was what? It's 0-0 first quarter, and I'm like, okay. And then they scored 2 on us, and we go, okay, it's 14-0, we're okay. And then we get out, we kick a field goal, we're down, okay. And we said we had a chance to just put any points on the board. It's a one-score game going into the fourth quarter, and you feel kind of like, okay, we got a shot because we've been in that before. So that was the strategy. They made the plays. They didn't allow us to make plays to get it to be a one-score game, and good for them.
Greg, and then Andrew Tressa.
Sure. Greg Moore, Arizona Republic. Coach, good to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Some similarities here between you and Coach Kelly, right?
Yeah.
Second-year guys, NFL experience, that team in Philadelphia. I'm curious whether there's any particular motivation for you and your team, given those similarities and maybe the ways that the programs could be measured against each other, given that they're in similar stages of development.
I respect Coach, known Coach for a while, and you talk to him at coaches meetings, obviously, and he's doing the same thing we're trying to do, trying to build a program. And there's a process to it. Now, he's been in college football longer than I have as a head coach, obviously. And when you respect guys like that, we always have conversations when we can and talk about where they're at. And they're similar to where we're at. They really are. And you look at it this way, you go, the more you can win helps you recruit, okay? That's the bottom line, right? We all know that as coaches. And we're all recruiting the same guys. We're recruiting Arizona and California. That's our big hub for us. What UCLA recruits, I know they're recruiting California. I don't know if they're in Arizona. They probably are in Arizona as well. But you understand that. And when you go to the games and you play against these guys, just look at the sideline. Look at all the kids, and everyone kind of knows everybody, right? And the kids are kind of looking. They're measuring it. Where do I fit? Do I fit here? Do I fit there? Both programs play a lot of young guys. I think they found themselves a quarterback who's healthy now, and he's playing well for them. I would say, I think we found a quarterback, right? And from there, you build it. And where we're at compared to them, I mean, you folks can decide all that. I don't get involved in that. I just try to continue to grow and build our program.
Hi, Coach.
Hello.
Welcome back, Tressa Tedrick, 3TV CBS 5. Saturday was really the first time we've seen Jaden Daniels really look like a freshman. And what can he learn from this game, and how did he respond after the loss?
He gets to be a freshman because that's what he is. And I think, the more success he had early, we had this, it's hard. It's life is about and how you recover. And Jaden will be fine. We had a good talk after the game. Had a good talk yesterday. He's good. I mean, I said, hey, this is one of those deals. He whispered something in my ear on the sideline when the game was ending, and it was between me and Jaden, and I looked at him, I said, I believe you. And we left it at that. But I just think it's one of those games where, they made him uncomfortable early, and it was hard. It was very hard against a really good defense, a team with a lot of experience. And knowing Jaden, he'll put that in his memory banks. He'll remember that, and that's what he's going to grow. And all quarterbacks go through that. All players go through that. Except when you play quarterback, you get exposed more because you play with the ball, right? If it's a left tackle struggling some, everybody says, yeah, he's struggling some. You can help him. You can chip over there and help him some. But it's not a big deal, right? But when the quarterback, it's like, oh, what happened? Because he's had all these games where he's come back and he's done all these things and he's all of a sudden he's Superman. No, he's a freshman quarterback. And he gets to be a freshman quarterback. And it's okay. And we'll live with that. I want him on my team. I'm not going to trade him. I'm telling him, just you're good. And we'll do this. And he understands it, and he understands, and that's what I love about the kid, because he took it all and he looked at it. And as we were walking off the field, if you saw, if we walk off the field, guys, say, you good? Good, coach. I said, all right, we'll talk about it. And we left it at that. And we're going to move on.
Cheers to that, Chris.
Kirsten Susel, NBC Phoenix. Back here, Coach.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Just staying with Jaden, back to Southern California, sort of a homecoming game for him. Will controlling emotions be of a concern at all, or will you have that conversation with him prior to the game?
Well, I'll talk to him about it. I mean, anytime you go to LA, you're going to have to talk to half our football team, right? Not just him. There's a bunch of them, right? And kind of like the SC game last year, guys, and they got a lot of, tell them right now, get this ticket thing done. Get that done. I don't want to be Friday, you're running around the hotel and you need more tickets and all that silliness, and people want to come to the hotel and, but it's part of it. You can't stop it because they have these things. You can't stop it, and they're always in, and you can't get mad at them and say they're not focusing on the game, because all these kids do it. That's what they do, and you can't say he's not focused. They've been doing this their whole life. And so, you don't, I ain't one of those coaches that sit there, you can't. Whatever you got to do to get ready to play the game, you need to go do, as long as it's legal. That's my rule with them. That's always been my rule with them. Just whatever you got to do. And everyone does it different. But I just want them to get all the ticket stuff and all the family stuff, and get that out of the way. And then when you go down there, go play. And yeah, they're going to be excited. You can't stop it. You can't tell them, well, you shouldn't be excited. Are they going to be excited? I was excited when we went back to Cal. And I left there so long ago, but some of those guys still in those trees. When I left, it's like, I was excited walking the stadium. I was like, hey, I grew up there. I was there as a kid, a teenager. You go back, some of the things are the same. I went down and telegraphed a couple of guys, knew a couple of guys, right? It's like, I saw guys in the stands that came into the stand before the game that actually were at Cal when I was at Cal. And I was talking to them. It's like, I get it. But then I got to go play a game. I don't have to play, I got to coach the game. But it's like, so I get all that. You can't no, you can't do this. That's way overrated. Just be who you are. Don't start taking things away from guys because you feel uncomfortable. They're comfortable. And as long as they're focused, that's all I care about. Everybody does it different. And you can't make them all in a box and say, hey, man, you got to do this. And you can't smile. You can't laugh. That was 30 years ago. Life's changed. And so I get that part. I really do. That's just how we'll handle it. We'll handle it the way we handle it.
Chris and Doug.
Chris Carmen, Son of a Source. Herm, after the game, you mentioned some of the uncharacteristic, the penalties, self-inflicted wounds, those kinds of things. After you rewatched the game, what were some of your thoughts on that?
We got emotional at times. And, we first of all, a couple of them, when you look at football today at all levels, and they're trying to clean up football in this sense, the defenseless player, he can be defenseless on either side of the ball, okay? He could be a defensive player after a turnover, where you turn the ball over and the offense has the ball and the guy's gonna block you, right? When you lead with the crown of the helmet and you launch and you hit a guy, that's gonna be a foul, all right? When you hit a guy who's defenseless, doesn't see it, that's a foul. We had a couple of, were they intentional? No, because we don't coach that. And the players that were involved in it, they don't do that. It's just the game sometimes puts you in a predicament where it's like, uh-oh, it's too late, right? Evan Fields, he's not a dirty player. He's not a dirty player at all. He's a tough guy, but his helmet's, as soon as it happened, I said, he's done, he's out. I get it. We had 2 guys out last year, right? And the poor kid is upset. He's in the locker room, he's upset, he's apologizing to me. And I'm going, Evan, it's good, man, I get it. He said, Coach, I let the team down. I said, we'll learn from all this, man. So it was one of those games, and as I told you folks, I apologized to their coach. Because I said, this is not what we coach. No coach coaches that. But it happens. And it was an emotional game. We got emotional. And generally I always say, I don't want an emotional team, I want a passionate team. And the players understood exactly what I was saying. We addressed it after the game. I don't anticipate that to happen again. I'm saying that, but it shouldn't, hopefully. But it's ball, man. It was a physical, both teams knew it was going to be physical. It was physical out in the yard here last year, and it was physical again up there, and both teams were kind of going at it, and I get that part, but there comes a part where you got to leave it alone. Now let it go. They always catch the second guy. It never changes in football. They always catch the second guy. They just do. When you give a guy the business, okay, you got to be, okay, but you give them the business, and that's what happens. That's football. I mean, I know I played the position. I played corner. You think I didn't talk to them receivers? Come on. I mean, but you got to know when, hey, okay, I can't go no more, because if I go, they're going to get me. And sometimes the officials will even tell you to say, hey, you need to calm down. And I'm over there on the side, hey, you need to do. Then comes out, what are you going to do? We don't coach that, and our team's not like that. And I think you guys have watched us play enough football. That's a one-game deal, and we don't want to see that anymore.
Doug and then Jeff.
Doug Haller with The Athletic. Herm, just piggybacking off of that, you guys want to play a physical style of defense. How hard is it to play that style of defense and yet not cross the line, especially with the blindside hits?
It's hard. It's hard at every level, and a lot of players struggle with it. But you got to teach it. You got to teach how to tackle, obviously. You got to teach when you get a guy in a position where he's defenseless. You just, even offense, we talk about it now on offense. Hey, if the ball's been turned over or something and you got a shot to block the guy, you almost got to get in front of him and just shield him. There was a play in the game where it was Eno. I think Eno kind of got caught up in the middle, and he broke out to the side, and the quarterback, he was in front of him, and the guy was coming. And now he's quarterback too, but he turned his back to the guy to shield him off. I mean, he didn't try to, and he better not try to block him either. But he turned his back, and that's what you almost have to do now. When there's a defenseless guy running to go do something and he doesn't see the guy, you can't hit that guy anymore. You got to shield him with your body. And that's hard for anyone to do because it's not natural for you to do that. You got all this helmet, you got these pads on, you want to hit a guy, and it's like, you can't do that. The guy's defenseless. And it happens so fast sometimes, it can go from you're going at a guy and all of a sudden something happens and you flash over here and I'm in the wrong position. And now you can't stop, right? And what are you going to do? And it's ball. And it's hard on the officials, hard on the players, but we got to get used to it. That's the game.
Jeff and then Nick.
Jeff Metcalf, Arizona Republic. You tried a number of things with the offensive line the other day. Can you sort of assess where that's at right now going forward?
A rotation, we use 7 guys. That probably will continue, to be quite honest. The young guys need a rest. They wore out a little bit. And so we decided with Hemsley, and Cody, he's back, that we can rotate those guys in, get a little rotation, and so we'll continue to do that. I think it's good for the young guys, And now there was a spurt there where we ran the ball. We ran the ball for 100 yards. I mean, so that was a good sign to see, And I think there's a little. If you remember last year, we rotated about 5 or 6 guys in there too. There's 6, 7. Roy kind of rotated a little bit, So now we've got 7 guys that we feel pretty comfortable with.
Nick King from 3TV, CBS 5. How much do you think the rain affected Jaden Saturday, and do you have a favorite memory of playing in the rain or coaching in the rain?
I think, for quarterbacks, this is where the big hand comes in when it's wet, right? So you can grip the ball. If you can't grip the ball, it's very difficult. Harder probably today's world because most of the quarterbacks don't get under center. So now you're catching a wet ball. We had a couple snaps that went awry, So all those things are a factor when you think about the rain. I don't know if I've ever had a comfortable game where, I've had some cold games, some rain games. As a defender, you kind of like the rain as a defender because it's very difficult for receivers to catch balls. They're wet. They're kind of wet. And the ball kind of, so that kind of weighs things out. But now on the other side, if it's not a turf field, you got a problem being a defender. You're going to fall down because they know where they're going. So it kind of works both ways. The worst for me was Minnesota when they used to play outside. The real Vikings, I call them. They weren't in the dome. They played outside. Fran Tarkenton and those guys, it was cold. I mean, it was the one where the guy had the blower and, the field's on the ice, and I'm trying to cover up Maud Rashad, man, Fran Tarkenton. That was hard. That really hard, and the story goes, he had little hands, and Nate Wright comes over. He's a San Diego State guy. He's playing for the Minnesota Vikings. He comes over the night before and says, can't throw the ball, man. Hands too small, can't grip. It's going to be cold tomorrow. And I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, okay. I go in a defensive meeting and tell the guys, hey, man, Fran can't throw the ball, man. Can't grip it. Really? I said, yeah. And inside information. Kick the ball off to them. They get the ball about after the 5th pass in a row. The defensive linemen are chasing Fran Tarkenton around, can't tackle him. They're hollering at me. And I'm going, he threw 52 passes. Broke an NFL record. In one day, 52 passes. And I'm looking over on the sideline, and Nate right after about the 10th one, he's on the ground cracking up. So you got to be kidding me, man. And so I guess cold don't matter if you're Fran Tarkenton, because it was one of those days. So that's how it works. So don't believe everything you hear. That's what I learned.
Greg Moore, Arizona Republic. I'm all off track now. I just want to talk to you
I got
about
good stories, man.
Yeah, right.
I got a bunch of them now. I got a bunch of cold stories. Better turn the cameras off. I can tell you guys a bunch of cold stories.
I'm interested to talk a little bit more about the offense. I get the challenges, right? I mean, those guys were monsters up front. They could get to your quarterback with minimal extras.
Yeah.
They could sit back. still there's got to be some level of frustration. It looked like you guys tried to get creative in spots and maybe you didn't have the opportunities. I'm curious, what were the conversations like, and what are the adjustments moving forward?
Well, the adjustments are you got to step. Here, I'll read this off and then you'll know. 3rd and 8, 3rd and 14, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 17, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 22, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7.
Right.
3 and outs, 3 and outs, 3 and outs. What else you want to know? Can't be a 3rd and long. You got to make positive yards on 1st down. And when you do that, you just shoot yourself against a good defense. That's and it's raining. Come on, you can't play like that, you know. And we know that. And to their credit, they got us in those bad downs. And you can't continue drives. We ran the ball a couple times. We had some spots where we felt like we moved it, and then a penalty would occur or something would occur, you know, or we had a bad snap, and all of a sudden we're like, what are we doing? And it just kept happening. And look, those guys beat us. I'm not using excuses. I'm not an excuse giver. But whoever watched the game, you saw it. And you cannot live that way. You just can't offensively. You can't play behind the chains. It's against a good defense, not happening. And that's what we did. We played behind the chains all day, and you can't get anything going. It just looks bad. We had 6, I think, 3 and outs. Or something like that, you know, early. I mean, I don't think we had I think at first half we might only had 2 first downs, you know. So it was bad. It was a bad ball, and we know that, and we got to recover from it.
Coach Paul Richardson at the sports game. So you play a physical team like Cal, then you play a team that throws the ball all over the yard in Washington State, then you play Utah, a physical team. Now you're about to go play a team that's a little bit more finesse. How do you adjust to that, or how do you get the kids adjusted to those different styles back to back to back?
Well, I think for us, defensively, you always have to have the mindset you want to play physical. I mean, that's kind of the trademark. You want to be a physical defense. According to who you're playing, what they like doing. UCLA runs the ball more than people can imagine. I mean, they come out and test with us 4 tight ends. All right, they do some unbalanced stuff. They do a lot of shifting in motion, what I call eye candy, to get your eyes bad. You know, they get all this eye candy and doing this, and so hike the ball. We got a gap missing. They run the ball, and so you got to be ready for that. So it's still not. This is not a finesse offense. They run the football. And they run it pretty good. They got a good runner. They got, you know, some guys with some speed. So you got to have the interior of the front 7. They got to match up. They got to understand their gaps. Because if not, the back is a home run hitter. I mean, he makes big runs. I mean, you watch him against Stanford. He hit a couple big ones. You know, where they were short a gap. And when you do that, you got a problem. So you know, you got to get ready for that. Defensively, it always has to be that way. Offensively, the front will dictate what kind of game it's going to be and what they do up front. And they've got some big guys inside. They got 2 big guys inside. They've got some athletic linebackers that can rush the quarterback on the edge. So we'll have our hands full.
Jordan K., Devil's Digest. You've mentioned the recruiting with California a few times. How important are these games against the California schools when you go into kids' homes who live there and who grow up around those?
Well, they're important in the fact that I think when they watch you play, they look at guys that they've either played against or they played with, right? Because they're all connected. Everybody kind of knows everybody. And they look at the position that they play. They look at who's there. I think if you look at this program and you're a young player, you probably got an opportunity to play, right? Is that helpful? Yeah, it's helpful. But eventually, as this thing goes, we don't want that to be the norm. We actually would say, well, if you're a freshman, maybe you can redshirt for a year. We don't have to play right away, right? But right now, we're in that mode, and we want to be past that in a year from now. We don't have to do that to all these guys. You know, we need to let them grow up and let them get in the weight room and let them learn the system for a year. That's how you build a program, and we're starting to do that. This class will help us do that, and then hopefully after that, I won't be having these conversations about playing all these young guys. I mean, if he's a good player, they're gonna play. The best players always play. That's always my motto. But they're not so much forced to play, let's say, because that's all you have, right? And it's not their fault, and they want to play. But some of them aren't ready to. And see, that's the other problem you have. When you play so many of them, the ones that don't play as much as the other guys, they feel like, well, why am I not playing? Well, you can't play all of them. It's hard. You know, and that's the reality of it too. That's the other problem you have, is that you play so many, then this guy says, well, he got 20 reps, I only got 5. It's just, you know, and it's hard, and that's part of it though.
Hi, Coach. I don't know if this is a bit of a stretch, but you kind of look at the situation with the inexperience in that situation, the weather conditions, and just kind of the hype all around the game. Do you think it was the perfect storm, so to speak?
I don't know that. I think that it was a team that played together, and it was built for this moment. You know, they've been building this team, and it's they understood. I mean, there's a reason they were picked to win the South. Okay, I mean, there was a reason. No one, okay, but with all that being said, that wasn't even what we thought about. It was like, hey man, they're a good football team, and we got to go on the road, and we're gonna find out where we're at, right? And if we give ourselves a chance, we're gonna have a chance to win this game, and we gave ourselves a chance. We just at the end we couldn't do enough to get it to that. I always say, get it to 1 score. And all of a sudden momentum changes and you're in the game. And we've done that in the past around here, in numerous places, right? And that didn't take place. And it's a credit to them because they didn't allow it. So you got to give them the credit. They deserve it. Okay? All right. Thank you, folks.
Thanks.